when laughter filled America's living rooms. Close your eyes for a moment and let yourself drift back in time. It's the early 1950s. The television set in your living room isn't a flat screen hanging on the wall, but a bulky black and white box sitting on a wooden stand. There's no Netflix, no YouTube, no endless scroll of streaming services. Instead, there are just a few channels, and yet, every evening, those channels bring something magical: laughter. Families gather together after dinner, kids sprawled on the carpet, parents leaning back in their armchairs, the glow of the TV flickering across their faces. And when the sitcoms came on, living rooms across America filled with laughter, warmth, and a sense of togetherness that's hard to describe. Today, we're going to step back into that golden era and relive the magic of 5 classic American sitcoms from the 1950s through the 1970s, shows that didn't just make people laugh, but left an imprint on American culture, shaping memories for generations. 1. I Love Lucy, 1951 to 1957. It all began with a red-haired woman whose face could light up a room, Lucille Ball. When I Love Lucy premiered in 1951, no one could have predicted how much it would change television forever. Lucy Ricardo, played by Lucille herself, was a housewife with big dreams of stardom. The only problem? Every time she tried to chase those dreams, chaos followed. Think of the classic Chocolate Factory scene, Lucy and her best friend Ethel working on the conveyor belt, desperately trying to wrap candies faster than the machine could spit them out, until they started shoving chocolates into their mouths and hats just to keep up. Or the time Lucy stomped grapes in Italy, her legs slipping and sliding, purple juice splashing everywhere. Audiences didn't just laugh, they saw themselves in Lucy. She was ambitious yet flawed, funny yet vulnerable. At a time when women on television were often just background characters, Lucy stood front and center. She showed that comedy could be led by a woman, and not just led, but dominated. What made I Love Lucy even more groundbreaking was its production. It was filmed in front of a live studio audience, using multiple cameras, something we take for granted today but revolutionary back then. The show was also recorded on film, which meant reruns were possible. That's why I Love Lucy is still being watched 7 decades later. And maybe that's why Lucy never really left us. Even now, her infectious laugh and outrageous schemes can still light up a room. 2. The Andy Griffith Show, 1960 to 1968. Now, let's leave the bustling cities and step into a quieter world, the small fictional town of Mayberry. The Andy Griffith Show wasn't about slapstick chaos or over-the-top antics. Instead, it was about something far simpler: kindness, family, and community. Sheriff Andy Taylor, played by Andy Griffith, wasn't the kind of lawman you'd expect. He didn't carry a gun, and he rarely raised his voice. Instead, he led with wisdom, patience, and heart. His son, Little Opie, learned life lessons in every episode, sometimes about honesty, sometimes about courage, sometimes about compassion. And then there was Barney Fife, the bumbling deputy played by Don Knotts, whose overconfidence and constant mistakes had viewers laughing week after week. But beneath the humor, the Andy Griffith Show carried something deeper. During the 1960s, a time of great upheaval in America, with civil rights struggles, protests, and war, Mayberry offered a gentle escape. It reminded people that decency and goodness could still be found in everyday life. For many Americans, Mayberry wasn't just a made-up town on television. It was the place they longed for. A place where neighbors looked out for each other, where a simple fishing trip could be more important than any big city success. Even today, when people rewatch the show, it feels like going home. 3. Bewitched, 1964 to 1972. From small-town charm, we move into something magical, literally. In 1964, audiences met Samantha Stevens, a beautiful witch who married an ordinary man named Darren. Samantha could twitch her nose and make almost anything happen: clean a messy house, cook dinner instantly, or accidentally cause a hilarious disaster. But the magic of Bewitched wasn't just the spells. It was in the story itself. Samantha chose to live like an ordinary suburban wife, despite having powers beyond imagination. She loved her husband so much that she wanted a normal life. Yet, her world of magic, along with her mischievous mother Endora, kept colliding with reality. This show was funny and whimsical, but it also carried a message. At its heart, Bewitched was about acceptance. It asked, can love overcome differences? Can two people from very different worlds find happiness together? Samantha wasn't just a witch. She became a symbol of a changing era. In the 1960s, as women began to seek more independence and voice in society, Samantha represented both tradition and progress. She was gentle and loving, but also strong and clever. And who could forget that signature nose twitch? Even today, it's iconic. 4. All in the Family, 1971 to 1979. By the 1970s, television had grown up. Sitcoms weren't just about silly situations anymore, they became a mirror of society. And no show did that better than All in the Family. At the center of it all was Archie Bunker. A working-class man from Queens, New York, Archie was opinionated, stubborn, and often offensive. He made jokes that were racist, sexist, and deeply uncomfortable. And yet, people watched, laughed, and debated. Why? Because All in the Family was brutally honest. It tackled the issues Americans were actually talking about at their dinner tables: race, gender roles, politics, war, the generation gap. Archie represented an older generation struggling to adapt, while his daughter Gloria and her husband Mike, the meathead, brought in progressive, liberal views. The clashes were constant, the arguments heated, and the comedy sharp. But underneath, it was about family, the messy, imperfect love that binds people together despite their differences. All in the Family didn't just make people laugh. It made them think. It pushed boundaries. It proved that television could entertain while also sparking conversations about the world we live in. And in many ways, it still feels relevant today. 5. M*A*S*H, 1972 to 1983. Finally, we come to one of the greatest sitcoms in history, M*A*S*H. Set during the Korean War, it followed the doctors and nurses of the Mobile Army Surgical Hospital, who worked tirelessly to save lives. But instead of being purely grim, the show used humor to balance the heartbreak. Hawkeye Pierce, the wisecracking surgeon, became the heart of the series. Through his sarcasm and jokes, he coped with the horrors of war. The characters around him, Trapper John, Radar, Hot Lips Houlihan, each brought their own quirks and depth. What made M*A*S*H remarkable was its ability to mix comedy and tragedy. You could be laughing at one moment, then suddenly find yourself choked up the next. It showed the absurdity of war, but also the resilience of the human spirit. The final episode, Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, wasn't just a TV finale. It was an event. Over 100 million Americans tuned in, making it the most watched television broadcast at the time. For many, saying goodbye to M*A*S*H felt like saying goodbye to a part of their own lives. Even today, M*A*S*H isn't just remembered as a sitcom. It's remembered as a story about humanity, hope, and endurance. So there you have it, the 5 sitcoms that shaped 2 decades of American television. From Lucy's chaotic laughter to Andy's quiet wisdom. From Samantha's magical twitches to Archie's blunt honesty, and finally, to Hawkeye's bittersweet humor in the midst of war. These shows didn't just make us laugh. They reflected who Americans were and who they wanted to be. They gave families reasons to gather, to laugh, and sometimes, to cry together. Even today, when you watch these old clips, you might hear that familiar laughter echoing through your living room. You might feel the warmth of those nights long ago, when life was simpler, and the glow of the television brought people closer. And what about you? Which one of these classic sitcoms brings back the most memories for you? Maybe it's Lucy causing chaos in the chocolate factory, Andy fishing in Mayberry, Samantha twitching her nose, Archie arguing with his family, or Hawkeye cracking a joke in the middle of a war zone. Share your stories in the comments below. We'd love to take this little trip down memory lane together. Your memories, your laughter, your reflections, they make this journey all the more special. And if you want to keep traveling back in time with us, make sure to hit that subscribe button for Homegrown Lessons so you won't miss any of our upcoming episodes. Every week, we'll dive into more shows, more stories, more moments that made our past unforgettable. Because the truth is, laughter never grows old. And those sitcoms? They weren't just television shows, they were pieces of our lives, pieces of our hearts, and pieces of the very history that shaped the America we know today. So let's keep exploring, keep laughing, and keep remembering, together. And we'll see you again on our next journey through the shows we grew up with.